This is the first video in the Unit 5 equation for line group of videos, where we're going to talk about how to find the equation of a line given a point and a slope. So in general, we want to say that a point is on a line if it satisfies the equation of that line. And we'll describe what this means using a couple of examples. So we want to determine, does the point A, 2, 7, lie on this line? So let's see. For this point to be on this line, it must satisfy this equation. So let's sub in the x-coordinate, or the x value of this point, so the 2, and see what y value we get. So y would be equal to 3 times the x-coordinate, 2, plus 1. And if we do this calculation and resolve this number and see what y value we get, if the y value happens to correspond with the y value of this data point, then we know it's on the line. If not, this point is not on the line. So y is equal to 6 plus 1 is 7, which is the y coordinate of A. So we could say that therefore A is on the line. Example 2. We have B located at 4, 6, and we want to know, does it lie on this line? So again, we can sub in the x-coordinate for the x value, which is a 4. And 2 times 4 is 8, minus 2 is 6. So y is 6, which happens to be the y coordinate of value B. So we could say that therefore B is on the line. So question 1 says, given the slope and y-intercept, determine the equation of the line. So this is the part of the video where you want to pause, try the questions on your own, and then unpause the video and see how you did. Remember, the equation of a line in y equals mx plus b form from the previous unit is y is equal to mx plus b, where m represents the slope of the line, and b represents the y-intercept of the line. So question A, we have an m value of -3 and a b value of 4. So the equation of the line would be y equals m, -3, x plus b, which is 4. 1b, we have y equals m x plus b, but we are adding -5, so that's subtract 5, or -5. C, y equals m x, and then we can add plus b or plus 0, but adding 0 doesn't really add anything, so this is our final answer. Question 2 says, determine the equation of a line with the given slope and data point. So remember what we were saying in the previous slide, that for a data point to lie on the line, it must satisfy the line? Well, in general form, we know that y equals m x plus b. Do we know the b value? Yes, we do. We were told the b value is 2. So let's sub in that data point, let's sub in that value for m. Now, we don't know what the b value is, but we need to be able to find it, and we can find it if we sub in a data point. Remember, if we sub in an x and y coordinate for any point on the line, it must satisfy the equation of that line. So if we sub in 4 for x and 0 for y, this equation should be satisfied because we want this point to be on our line. Therefore, one of the combinations of x and y, or one data point that's on the line, would be the combination 4, 0. So we sub in 4 for x, 0 for y, and now the only thing we don't know in this equation is b. So we can rearrange this equation and isolate for b to find out what b is. So this is 0 equals 2 times 4 is 8 plus b. We want to subtract 8 on both sides of the equal sign. So if we subtract 8 on this side, it gets canceled out with this 8. And we're left with b. And if we subtract 8 on this side, we'd have 0 minus 8, which is negative 8. So therefore, b is equal to negative 8. And finally, we can therefore write out the equation of the line y equals mx plus b, where b is negative 8. So subtract 8. And that's the equation of the line with a slope of 2 that passes through point A. 2b, the general form of the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, where we know m is negative 1, so we can sub that value in. So negative 1 times x is negative x plus b. And we know that this equation must satisfy all points that lie on the line, including this point, which we are given, because we're told that this point lies on the line. So we can sub in this set of points for x and y, and the equation should be satisfied. So we have negative 3 for a y value that corresponds to an x value of 0. And if we isolate for b, well, negative 0 is 0, plus b is just b, which is equal to negative 3. Therefore, the equation of a line that has a slope of negative 1 and passes through this point A would be y equals negative x, or negative 1 times x, because m is negative 1, plus b, or plus negative 3, which is subtract 3. And finally, 2c, the general equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, where m is 4, so we can sub in that value. And we know that if this is a line and this point is on the line, then this equation must satisfy all points on the line. We can sub in the value of x and y, and the equation should be satisfied. So we have 3 as the y value, and then 4 times x, which is a 3 as well, plus b. We can rearrange this to say that 3 is equal to 12 plus b. We want to subtract 12 on both sides of the equal sign so the equation stays equal. 12 minus 12 is 0, so we've isolated for b, where b is equal to 3 minus 12, which is negative 9. Therefore, the equation of the line is y equals mx plus b, so plus negative 9, or subtract 9. Question 3, and this is the last question for the video. Don't forget to pause the video, try the questions on your own, and then unpause the video and see how you did. Alright, so 3 says find the equation of a line with, part A says, with slope negative 1/5 and passes through this data point. So we know that we have y equals mx plus b for any line. The slope value is negative 1/5, so y equals negative 1/5 x plus b. We know that this is a point that's on the line, so it must satisfy this equation. So we can sub in the y value and the x value. And now the only thing we don't know is b, so we can isolate for b. Negative 1/5 times 0 is 0. So we only have b on the right side, and that's equal to 5. So we can say, therefore, the equation of the line is y equals mx plus b, which is 5. 3b, we have a slope of 4 and a data point of b, which is at 2, negative 2. So we start with the general formula for the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. We can sub in what the slope value is because we know what that is. And we know that this equation must satisfy all points on the line, including the data point we are given, because we are told it passes through that line. So we can sub in the y value here and the x value here, and that should satisfy the equation. And now we only have b left, so we can isolate for b. So we have negative 2 equals 8 plus b. We want to subtract 8 from both sides of the equal sign, so we would be left with b on this side. and we would have negative 2 subtract 8 on this side. And negative 2 subtract 8 is negative 10, so we know that therefore b is equal to negative 10. And therefore, the equation of the line is y equals mx plus b. And it's subtract 10 because b is a negative number, so negative 10. C, we have a slope of 1, and the line passes through data point C for 0. So again, we start with y equals mx plus b, sub in the m value, y equals 1x, or just x, plus b. We know a set of coordinates, which is point C, that has to satisfy this equation because this line passes through this point. So we have 0 equals 4 plus b, and then we isolate for b. So we can subtract 4 on both sides. We would get negative 4 equals b. Therefore, b is negative 4. And therefore, y is equal to mx, so 1x, or 1 times x is just x, plus b. And b is a negative number, so subtract 4. And that's the equation of this line. D, we have a slope of negative 3, and we know that the line passes through data point D, which is located at negative 6, 4. So we start with y equals mx plus b, where m is negative 3, so we can sub in that point, or that piece of information. And we know that this line satisfies all the points on the line, including this point, because we're told that it passes through that point. So we can sub in the coordinates of that point into our equation. So the y value is 4, and the x value is negative 6. And now we can rearrange and isolate for b to find out what the b value is. So 4 is equal to negative 3 times negative 6, which is positive 18. Now we want to subtract 18 on both sides. So 4 minus 18 is equal to 18 plus b minus 18. 18 minus 18 is 0, so we've isolated for b, where b is equal to negative 14. Therefore, y is equal to our slope, m, which is negative 3, x, plus b, which is negative 14. And that's it for D. E, we have a slope of negative 7 over 3 that passes through the origin. So y equals mx plus b, where we know that the m value is a negative 7 over 3. And we know that the origin is located at 0, 0, 0 in the x direction, 0 in the y direction. And if this equation satisfies all points on the line, including a point that we know it passes through, the origin, then we should be able to sub in the x and y coordinates of the origin, and that'll satisfy the equation of the line. Anything times 0 is 0, so we have 0 is equal to 0 plus b, and 0 plus b is just b, so b would just be equal to 0. Therefore, the equation of the line is y equals m, which is negative 7 over 3x, plus b, or plus 0. And if we're adding 0, we're not really adding anything. So the equation of the line is this. And finally, we have f, where the slope is 4 over 7, and it passes through point f, which is negative 4, 14. So we have y equals mx plus b. We can sub in the slope value, we know, 4 over 7. And now we know that this point satisfies this equation because this point is on the line, because we're told that it passes through this point. So we can sub in the y value and the x value, and then resolve this to see what our b value is. So 4 over 7 times negative 4 is equal to negative 16 over 7. And now we want to add 16 over 7 to both sides of the equal sign. So negative 16 over 7 plus 16 over 7 is 0. So we've isolated for b. And maybe we'll continue this over here. So b is equal to what's left on the left side here. So we'll say that b is equal to, we'll just write it out again, 14 plus 16 over 7. And this 14 is like 14 over 1, because 14 over 1 is 14. And now for us to add this, we need to find a common denominator. So a common denominator between 1 and 7 is 7, because they both can be multiplied by integers to get to 7. So we have something over 7 plus something over 7. And in the second fraction, we didn't really change much, or we can say we multiplied the denominator by 1, so we must multiply the numerator by 1 to get an equivalent fraction. However, in this first fraction, we multiplied the denominator by 7, so we must multiply the numerator by 7 to get an equivalent fraction, and we get 98. And then we add the numerators next, because the denominators are the same, and we will get 114 over 7, which is also equal to 16 and 2/7 in mixed fraction form. So we can write our answer as, therefore, y is equal to m, which is 4 over 7x, plus b. And note that I left this as a improper fraction, because typically we would write y equals mx plus b form in improper fraction form. And that's it for this video.